I'm gonna go open from computer. I'm gonna find my photo and open it. It's always a good idea at this point to save your work. And we're going to save as PSD. That way you know that you have your work saved and you can just keep saving your progress as you go. So I always like to check, yep, there it is on my desktop. Okay, so here we go. The first thing I'm always going to do is make a copy of the background, and I can do that with Command or Control J. And I'm going to turn the one underneath off. From here, what I want to do is remove the stool so that it looks like I'm flying through the air and I'm not actually standing on a stool. And I'm going to do that using the clone stamp tool. So for some reason for me, the clone stamp is nestled under the paintbrush right now. I have noticed that on Photopea, that sometimes the tools will hide in different places along the toolbar. If you ever can't find one, the best thing to do is use this little search function. So I could go to clone tool, and now I have the clone tool. Basically, the way that the clone tool works is it takes a selected area and makes a stamp out of it. And then you can stamp whatever's in that target area over a different area. Let me show you. First, to set up your stamp, you're going to press Alt or Option on your keyboard. And you're going to get this little crosshairs. And from here, I'm going to click and then slide over to the right. And look, my cursor now is whatever I selected originally. So now, as I click over the stool, it looks like it's covering it up. But what I need to keep doing is sourcing, grabbing a new source so that this looks a little more natural. The other thing I can do, clone stamp is technically a brush. So I can also change the hardness of my brush so that I don't see these little, like the edges or the outlines here. Now, the other thing I want to make you aware of is you can click and drag or almost paint using the clone stamp tool. But notice the little, while I do that, the little crosshairs that follow behind. Those little crosshairs are picking up the source. So see how it makes a second version of the legs of the stool? That's because the crosshairs, I'll show you again, as I'm dragging them through, wherever the crosshairs are, it's collecting its new source. So if that's happening, you want to go back to Alt or Option, pick up a new source, and then work it that way. Do is make a selection, let me get my move tool, a selection of just myself and reflect it into the floor. So this is where it comes in really handy having this layer here that I haven't edited yet. I'm going to make another copy of it. So here I might label this Floating Miss E, and this one I might label Reflection. And I'll keep this one as the background, or I could even name it Original. So on the layer where I'm going to make the reflection, what I need to do, let me turn this one off. What I need to do is I need to select just myself. And There are tons of different selection tools. I think in Photopea, what's best, what I have had the most luck with, is choosing whatever way, like I quickly sort of assess what's going to get me the best selection. This one's not terrible. And then I clean up the selection using other methods. So for this, I'm going to use the quick mask mode. And this lives at the bottom of your layers panel, but for some reason it's not showing for me. So I know that I can search for it with the little search feature here. And what I need is, I'm going to be painting with black and white. So I need the paintbrush. And again, I want to go in here and I'm going to change the hardness to rather soft so I don't have super hard edges. White reveals. So if I paint with white, it's going to reveal an area. Now the quick mask mode, what it's doing is it's previewing for me what my mask would look like if I put a mask on. And everything in pink will not appear. Everything that's true to color will appear. So I can spend some time editing by painting with black or white before I actually create my mask. So when I'm finished, I would typically click on quick mask down here, but it's missing. So I'm going to search for it again. And look, there I have my selection. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible, and it's going to work for what I need it for. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I can edit, copy, or Command C, and Command V, or edit, paste, and it's going to paste a little version of myself. Turn these off so you can see on its own layer. So I'm going to label this reflection 2 as well. Turn that off, turn the original, turn this on. I'm going to slide the reflection up on top. Okay, so I have the floating me and I have my reflection here. I'm going to command and click on the thumbnail of the layer, and what that does is it selects myself. It selects everything that's on that layer automatically. And I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Flip Vertically. And now here I am. I can start to place myself the way that I might look if I was a reflection. I'm going to Command D to deselect. I want to rotate just a little bit. I want to separate myself a little bit from the real version of me, or the floating version of me, so that it looks like there's space and I'm actually floating. And then what I need to do is I can come up here and change the opacity so I can see the floor coming through. And I can also check out some of my effects. One that I thought looked really nice for this to make it look shiny like the floor was the inner glow. So I can play around with some of these effects. That's too much. So I get almost this look of like shininess, like the floor might have. Press OK. I'm going to bring the opacity down even more. So this classwork assignment, what you're going to focus on is the clone stamp tool, selections, transformations, and effects. And then you can head to File, Save as PSD. Well, I already did that, so I can also go to File, Save if I hadn't done that yet, and then I can export as a JPEG because that's this. I'm going to turn in the actual JPEG. Can head into Schoology in our course, Unit 2 now. Float, and I can submit this. I can't wait to see what you create.